the next profound moment of my life was in 2020, a couple of days before um, the 2nd of the 2nd, 2020. It was quite a significant date. I was preparing to go to Central America, to go to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and then Guatemala for the ISTA training that I'd booked. See previous detail about that, about the Tantra progression. And I went to my best friend's house party, and I ingested a very small amount of MDMA, a very small amount of mushrooms, and usually, well, up to that point, I didn't really feel much. It wasn't really potent. So the party was closing down, and I thought, I'm in a good space. I'll receive the joint as I'm receiving it, as it's being passed around. But this activated something that was very intense. I thought I was going to die for the rest of the night. I thought that if I fell asleep, I would die. The next day, I went to see my brother, and he started talking to me in just remembering our childhood, and he showed me pictures, and then he started talking to me about my teenage years, and it felt like my life was flashing before my eyes in slow motion. Uh, I was really struggling. I didn't know what was happening really, but I thought I had this like impending doom sort of sensation. Uh, Later on that night, a partner at the time, she came over, and I had an experience where we were making love, and I thought that I was being drawn back into the womb, and I was being rebirthed, so to speak, the other way. And I realized the time and the date, and it was like the 2nd of the 2nd, 2020. And I thought that time had caught up on itself, and we were going backwards again. And I really thought I was going to go back to the void. But I felt like I wanted to make a declaration that I'm not ready to die, and I'm here to stay on the planet to be of service. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm here. I hear the calling, and I'm here to do it. So the next day, obviously I didn't die, but the next day I had a huge recognition of I was writing, stream of consciousness writing, and it was a real strong calling to hold space, support, facilitate the sort of reconnection and the healing between the masculine and the feminine. We have got this so wrong in this day and age. Men and women hurt each other by playing out traumas and shadow behavior, and we hurt each other. And I felt like, the men especially have a big responsibility. We're living in a very masculine, toxic masculine paradigm these days, and if we had any consideration, symbolic consideration of the feminine on a grand scale, the earth is very feminine energy, and we'd be really supporting and nourishing and nurturing each other with like feminine energy. So there's a big imbalance. So I made a declaration that I will do what I can, and so in that moment, a friend of mine called me up out of the blue, the shaman who gave me the Reiki session. She said, I haven't spoke to you for ages, but I've been called to speak to you. Are you okay? And I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much for contacting me. She said, let's meet up. Let's meet up. I've just come back from a sacred mission in Hawaii, in Sedona. And I've just had a dream that she fell asleep on the train, and she had a dream that She was a priestess and I was a priest in a previous life in a Saxon village. And she said, I'll work out where it is. And she worked out where it was. It was a tiny place in the middle of, it was exactly halfway between where we were both living. And we arranged to meet on a particular day. Even though we were coming from different directions, we arrived at exactly the same time in the car park. And we didn't really know what we were doing. We were supposed to go to an ancient temple. And the site had actually been turned into a Roman hill fort, obviously. The Romans would have turned it into something of their own. But we found this hill that had red mud, so it obviously had like iron ore in it, which would be some kind of, you know, magnetizing or doing something with energy, because that's what, you know, metals do. That's what Earth does. And it was snowing a blizzard. We went to the top of the hill and I had no idea what we were going to do. But she started to beat the drum and open up the 4 directions and opened up ceremonial space. And then before we knew it, our hips met. Again, I could feel this like really strong energy root my legs down into the depths of the earth. And I felt this energy come up through my feet, up through my legs, and it gets stuck and blocked in my heart. And I felt all this sorrow, this pain, this grief, this anguish, and it was like guilt from like a masculine energy, like a masculine perspective, guilt and shame and like horridness. And I just felt that pain, and I needed to say sorry, from the masculine to the feminine. If there was, it just felt like that. And so she took a long time for a response to come. And when it came, she said, I forgive you. The energy burst through that heart space and shot out the top of my head. And it was so dramatic. There was all this snow happening and I don't know what was happening. It was just really bizarre. But we celebrated and we danced and we painted mud on each other's faces and got really wild with it. And then the blizzard stopped in a heartbeat, and it was just really, really bizarre. But I felt like it was something significant. I don't know what we did together collectively, or if it was for me or for her or for the land or for the collective. I don't know what it was. But you know, I still wear this like belief that, you know, I love hearing stories about these mystical, spiritual experiences that happen to other people, and yeah, they don't happen to me, but they have done in the past. But it's been a long while since one of those has happened. So that was 2020, leading up to 2020.